Let's talk about if you should buy a house in 2023 or rent. I know. The interest rate is still high. The news says we might be going into a recession in 2023, which is actually good for you if you can afford to buy a home. But inflation is still high. The labor market is tight, but it's softening. If inflation stays high, companies may be forced to lay off workers and cut wages. The housing prices, though they have come down a bit, are still high, which is causing home affordability to stay low. I get it. It definitely makes sense to not buy a home right now. But should you? Hear me out and consider this scenario. If you have a business and sales are going down, what would you do? Wouldn't you come up with ways to get clients through your door so business will pick up? Of course you would. So today we'll go over why you should rent. Then I'll give you reasons why you should buy now. Then stick around till the end because we'll see what Dave Ramsey has to say about buying or renting in 2023. So sit back, relax, grab a glass of your favorite beverage or a cup of coffee, and watch our video about whether you should buy or rent in 2023. There are so many reasons why you shouldn't buy a house now, and a lot of them depend on your situation. The obvious: number one, if you're in a temporary job or there is a good chance your job will be relocating you, it might be better to rent. Number two, you can't afford it. You don't have the money for a down payment and closing costs to buy a home. Even with a down payment assistance program or assistance from the sellers, you still can't afford to buy a home. Number three, if your credit needs some work, or you haven't been at your current job long enough, or you don't have a job. Number four, consider what you want to do in your life. Do you want to travel and have the freedom to move around quickly before settling down? That was all the obvious stuff. And with that aside, I want to give you reasons why you should go ahead and rent for now instead of buying in 2023. Interest rate is still high. Yes, it's gone down a bit, but it's gotten back close to 6.5%. Based on what experts are saying, the interest rate is going to remain mostly between 6 and 7% through 2023. Though some, like this article on Realtor.com, says that it could be between 5.5 to 6%. The labor market is tight, which is good for workers since you'll have more bargaining power to get a higher wage. However, if inflation stays high, it may force companies to eliminate some positions and decrease wages. And the tight labor market is not as tight as it seems, per this article. So wages aren't going up as high and are not keeping up with inflation and rent, making it harder to buy a house. The unemployment numbers have gone up, so the labor market is showing signs of softening. High home prices. Yes, home prices have gone down a bit due to the real estate market going through a correction, but the prices are still high. Couple that with a high interest rate, it is still expensive to get into a home. Renting won't require as much money to get into a home. Inflation, though getting lower, inflation is still high, which means everything that you're buying is still expensive and making it harder to save money for a down payment and closing costs, which runs about 2 to 3% of the purchase price, sometimes more depending on what type of loan that you get. Keep in mind that closing costs are on top of the down payment that you need to buy a home. Also keep in mind that you'll need another $1,100 for inspections and appraisal, and all this can add up. The stock market has gone down and eroded your savings. If you had your savings stashed in the stock market, then you've witnessed your investment dwindle. The S&P 500 has dropped by 23.9%, almost 24% by September of this year. It's gone down even lower since then. So less money for a down payment? It makes more sense for you to keep on renting. All of the above are great reasons why you should go ahead and rent instead of buying in 2023. Before we go over the reasons why you should buy now and listen to what Dave Ramsey has to say, let me get this out of the way. If you appreciate videos like this, which takes a long time to put together and research, it would mean so much to me if you go ahead and hit that like button. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. But more importantly, make sure you click on that bell, because that bell is what gives you a notification each time that we upload a new video. I know it's silly and annoying, but you would be helping out this channel so we can make more videos like this, as well as housing market update, tips and advice for home sellers and home buyers. We'll do some video tours of neighborhoods. And with all that said, I want to thank you so much in advance, and let's continue. Look at this article from the National Association of Realtors. The housing market is a major driver of the U.S. economy. It's clear that there are forces working together to make sure that the housing market gets back on track. So just like a company whose business has slowed down and doing everything it can to get its business up and making money, those forces are doing everything they can to get the housing market going. This is great news for you. So here's what's happening in the housing industry that's making it easier for you to buy a home. New builders are getting nervous and are lowering their prices and giving you incentives. Homes are staying on the market longer and more homes are coming on the market, which is making the sellers more nervous and are willing to give you better terms to entice you to buy their home. Lenders are coming up with innovative mortgage products to help you lower your mortgage payments every month. Inflation is on its way down, and typically mortgage rates follow the inflation numbers. Rents are also rising, and it may make sense for you to buy if the rents cost just as much, if not more, than what your mortgage payments would be. Right now, there's not a lot of competition. When the market improves, you will have more competition and may end up buying the home at the same price, if not higher, than what they are right now. You can always refinance when rates go down. Most of your payments in the early years will go towards paying interest, so it makes more sense to refinance now than when you have built up a lot of equity. Home prices are declining a bit, but they're not going down much and will be going up again when inflation goes down, which brings the mortgage rate and rents down with it. Yes, there are places where the home prices have gone down 20% or more, but they're not going much lower than that from here. Overall, prices have actually gone up year over year. Take a look at this graph. Your monthly costs will be fixed no matter what happens with the mortgage rates. You're making an investment. Each time you make a payment on your mortgage, you're paying down the principal, so you're creating equity. Think of your payments as forced savings. You're putting it in a savings account. The number to look at is the number of homes that are pending and those that are sold. Those numbers have been decreasing, which means fewer people are buying. They're not buying, that means they're renting, which means a low inventory of rentals. And with low inventory of rentals means higher rents. Don't just take my word for it. Let's see and hear what Dave Ramsey has to say. If you don't know Dave Ramsey, he is an 8-time best-selling author and personal finance expert and also the host of The Ramsey Show. Let's see what he has to say.
But we're at this moment in time, and I would say for the next 6 months, this is going to be true, that, and you can't usually say this, is what I'm saying.
Can't wait.
Right now is the best time to buy a house in the next 5 years. Right now. And here's why. Okay? Prices are not going to go down. Some of you are saying, well, I'm going to wait for prices to come down. You're not going to get them.
Yeah.
They're not coming down.
Yeah.
Okay? They're going to go up slower, but they're not going to go down. They may not go up hardly at all, but they're not going to go down. And so 5 years from today, houses are going to be more expensive. This is as cheap as it's going to be in the next 5 years. So this is the best price right now if you're going to buy a house. Well, interest rates are up. Buy the house. If interest rates come back down, refinance.
Yeah.
But don't not buy waiting on interest rates to come down. Just refinance the mortgage if interest rates come down. This is the best time to buy a house in the next 5 years.
Interesting, right? So if you can buy now, go ahead and buy. But buy for the right reasons, meaning buy and stay in the home and not do a flip or whatever. Again, going back to this graph, as long as you buy and hold, and as long as inflation and wages keep going up, the home values will keep rising. As Dave Ramsey said in the video, rates are high, but when they go down, just refinance. And if you want to know what to do to prepare to buy a home in 2023, watch this video next. With that said, see you around town.